Welcome back. You are watching News Center. Vedanta is confident of getting an early approval for its semiconductor and display fabrication unit in India. The company says they will also announce a global tech partner soon. Speaking exclusively to CNBC TV18, Akarsh Hebbar, the global managing director of the company's semiconductor and display business, said that resources for the new business will come from Vedanta's own assets.
We have our strategy in place to do this. It doesn't change much with the demerger, but it actually enhances the fact that we are more focused on each business on its own and to give the retail shareholder and the world a chance at looking at each of these businesses individually. When you look at the demerger, our announcement from the chairman was that this will be housed under Vedanta Limited. So we already have assets like HZL, which are cash rich, which have a very good balance sheet, and our balance sheet helps that we can support this businesses by ourselves. And having said that, there is a large chunk of it which is already going to be funded from our operations, from our businesses. We have a healthy balance sheet, healthy EBITDA going forward, and our plan remains the same, that we will put in the equity and then we will look at debt restructuring post, looking at how the approval comes in and what is the size of the cost.
Right. So you're saying that the resources for the semiconductor and display business will come from internal resources.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The other point that we would also like to ask you is that would you at some stage like to raise public equity for this business?
So this business is going to, we have a tech partner who we are wanting to take equity with us. And we have, once this develops into an ecosystem play, we will have a lot of downstream and a lot of upstream partners who will definitely want to come on board. So we and the tech partner, once the factory is starting to build, we are going towards either a public issue or just having the factory start on its own. We will do what's best for the company. We will look at if we need more public equity or if it is debt. And that is the call we'll take at that point of time.
Right. So that will start probably when manufacturing begins.
Correct.
Okay. When we look at the semiconductor and display business, there are already companies in Taiwan, Japan, Europe doing this. How will you ensure competitiveness? Because it's a very capital intensive, requires highly skilled manpower that is also in shortage around the world. It's going to be very expensive to start off a foundry. So how will you ensure competitiveness of the business?
That's a very good question, Parakshit. And, if you look at this industry, we are not doing a technology transfer. We are not doing, a normal factory transfer. We are doing an industry transfer into India. And with the vision of Modi ji and the government and how the Prime Minister has brought out the policy, we are very confident that in all of the three success factors that need to be in place, which is technology, talent, ecosystem, there are policies in place, there are people who are interested, and the market in India is 25% of the world's population. So definitely some place where people want to see, number one, a diversification of their supply chain from places like China and Europe and US into India. Number two, the availability of local talent. We don't have experienced talent, we agree, right? But that is circumvented by the fact that we have all the design talent in semiconductors, we have all the engineers available, and that is the training that we'll need to do. And number three, everyone in the world is now wanting their own ecosystem in their backyard. Right now it's fragmented across the globe. And when you look at what India is going to offer, if we attract that ecosystem with our foundry and display fab, this will make India the 5th country in the world to have this ecosystem. And these three are the factors that will make us competitive. We are not saying that, the price sensitiveness will go. And when we are looking at this being the alternate supply chain for many of the players, when we are looking at this being the new ecosystem, we are definitely looking at the fact that people are looking at it in a strategic way. People are looking at producing in India, making in India, and that is what the government is doing, and that is what externally, when we are looking at tech partners and customers, that they want to do. They want to look at India as the next place for manufacturing for them.
Now, as far as your discussions with the government goes for the Semicon program, what is the status of your talks both on an application for making semiconductors and an application for display?
So both of these applications are reiterating the fact that we are committed to making this industry happen. And with the Prime Minister's vision, we actually have a very well set guideline as to what is it that we can build, how it can be advantageous. There's many policies in the ESDM sector. There's many policies in the PLI schemes that have come out, and we have already. I think they've already 10 lakh crores in the last 2 years have already been disbursed for PLI scheme. There is huge credibility around what the government policies are and how they're working through making it a successful venture for all the business houses like that, right? And we really want it to be not just us, we want it to be multiple people who will make multiple fabs, multiple foundries in our country. So I think our status is that we and the government are always in walking hand in hand, and we are going to make this successful together.
So have you applied for both categories, and by when do you expect approvals?
So we are expecting the approval once we put the application, we will expect approval soon as the government does its due diligence. The government is going to put a subsidy into this, and that requires due diligence, that requires them to assess us from an independent point of view. And we do expect them to move very fast. We have seen timelines with Micron, we have seen timelines with other PLI schemes as well. So as soon as we are going to put this application in, you'll see them move really fast and get that over.
But what is the reason for the delay so far as submitting those applications go?
So the application for semiconductor is already applied, and display is already applied, because we find that the modified scheme that the government has come out with is highly conducive for the environment that we are in, that the business feasibility that we are in, and it has been phenomenal the way that they have crafted this policy. It is attracting talent everywhere, and we think reiterating the government's belief in the new policy with the application that we're putting in gives us a better chance at making a successful venture, which can be pioneered but also copy pasted by other businesses that do come into India.
Right. On the semiconductor business, by when do you think you will be able to realistically start operations? Mr. Agarwal, the chairman of Vedanta, had spoken about the fact that they will have a world technology partner very soon. An announcement would be made. How close are you to that announcement?
I mean, like in the words of the chairman, very soon. So
by the end of the year, in the next few months?
No, for us, we want this yesterday, and we are in very good talks with most of the tech partners. So very soon you'll hear about it, definitely.
Okay. And in terms of starting manufacturing?
So we are going to roll out. So if you look at both display and semiconductor as two different entities, semiconductor we are looking at 2026 being the first wafer, 2027 being commercial productions, and we are going to start in display around 2026 with commercial productions, a year earlier. It's less complex than the foundry.
Right.
So these are our timelines that we're aiming.
Okay. Now to speak to you about the display business, what are your plans in terms of bringing manufacturing to India? You already have Avanstrat. You are supplier to some of the key mobile phone and television makers around the world. But in terms of setting up local manufacturing, what's the game plan? So
our country has three things going for it. Number one, we are the largest consumers. Our market is about, we had 7 billion in 2020 in display, which is becoming 11 billion now, and that is going to triple in the next few years, right? We're going to have 30 to 40 billion dollars worth of imported panels being consumed in India, and this is 100% import right now. So for us, the biggest advantage is there is a local market, 25% of the world's population with double-digit CAGRs, right? Smartphones going from 250 million smartphones a year production to say 450 million, surpassing China, right? We have TVs which are 10 to 15 million TVs, which will become 30-40 million TVs. Every house in India needs a TV. You'll see every household will have one TV, two TV. Every person who has a TV wants a smartphone. Every person who wants a smartphone wants a notebook. And that is where India is coming in very strong, right? Number two, we have technology ourselves. 700 patents, Avanstrat makes it a perfect technology to bring into India. We are making LCD. We are not going into OLED yet. LCD technologies is tried and tested over the last 10-15 years. Very cost competitive. We are copy pasting that technology and bringing it to India. And in India, the market for LCD is about 95% of the market is LCD. Only a 5% market of OLED is there. And going forward, this is phase one. We're not only stopping with one fab. We'll go with fab 2, fab 3, and technology will keep changing and emerging.
And my final question, would Dholera continue to be the location where you will set up semiconductor and display manufacturing?
Yes, it is. Dholera as a state has been assessed over several states, and it is by far giving us a really healthy subsidy around the policy that they have created. They're giving very good utilities. They have already allocated land for us, and the infrastructure around is very, very key. They are building airports, they're building roads, they're building hospitals and hotels. And like I said, it is very important for us to attract, using social infrastructure, expats from outside, because they are the ones who are experienced.
Right. And we have seen the likes of Micron coming into India, but they are coming in assembly or packaging. Does that somehow change your priorities? Will you stick to your plan of setting up a foundry, or would you look at other segments of semiconductor manufacturing first?
So, semiconductor in our country is about $30 to $40 billion already. That will become about $80 to $100 billion, right? There's enough piece of the pie. And having said that, Micron is building a packaging facility which will cater to maybe their existing customers outside India, and also on assembly, like you said, right? Assembly and test. We might be collaborating with Micron later anyway. We might be doing packaging ourselves, right? There is enough piece of the pie for us to create that ecosystem. But foundry is the nucleus. If it is a value add for our industries, you're talking about 40 to 50% of the BOM of creating a handset. It is to make display and semiconductor together, and that is the essence of making that whole ecosystem active.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. But before we